Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Toni and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. And I am going to break down as simple and as easy as possible how I choose curriculum. If you're in the beginning or the middle of trying to pick curriculum, or this is the first time you've ever chosen curriculum for your homeschool, you're gonna wanna watch this because I'm gonna make it as easy and as simple as possible. I've been homeschooling for 8 years. So I've made plenty of mistakes along the way and I've learned from my mistakes. So that's why I like to share with you guys so that you can just skip that process, skip the mistakes and just go right ahead to doing the right thing and doing it easier. So that is my goal today, is just to make it easy for you. Choosing curriculum is a big deal. You can teach your kid with any curriculum. There's some that are easier to teach your kids with. There's some curriculum that just fit better for your family. I'm sure you guys know about the different styles of learning. I am not gonna go into all that, but it doesn't matter what style you guys learn with. It doesn't matter if you're doing family style or whether you're doing individual subjects or whatever it is you're looking for. This is a broad paint stroke of how you can choose your curriculum. So I'm just gonna go dive right in. The first thing that I do is I reassess my child's needs, each of my children. I've got 4 kids. I go through and I think, what do we need? What does this child need for next year? What exactly do they need to learn the best? So does this child need more one-on-one attention? Does this child need more structure? Does this child need more hands-on approach with different things? So reassess each child and what they need. Maybe if they majorly struggled with this one thing this year, then you know probably don't go with that for next year. So that is so important to look at each child individually and just figure out, what do they need? That's all there is to it. You need to do what is best for that child. So that's my number 1. Number 2, it took me many years to learn this. And that might make you laugh and be like, she's crazy. But it really took me a long time to figure out that number 2 is keep what is working. If what you're using is working, do not switch. Even if everything else seems shiny and new and fun and everybody in that cool group over there is using it, if what you're using is working, then stick with it. I am a serial curriculum switcher. If I can make that a title, I would get a blue ribbon for that, because I, over the years, have switched and used many different curriculum. There's nothing wrong with that, and I am one of those people who just likes change. I don't regret, except for math, I don't regret switching curriculum, because I love that I've had experience with lots of different curriculum. And I love that I'm able to share with you guys what has worked, what hasn't worked, or maybe what worked for a season but didn't work the next time. So I do love that I am someone who has tried out a lot of different curriculum, and I'm not someone who just picked one thing in the beginning and stuck with it. But in general, if it is working, don't switch. That is what I'm doing this year. I haven't shared with you guys yet what I'm going to be doing next year, because I haven't actually written it all out on paper, but a lot of what we're doing this year is staying because it is working. And this was a good year for us, and I really don't feel the need to switch very much. There are a couple subjects that I am going to reassess, and I'm going to figure out what we need to switch for next year. But there's a lot of stuff that's just working, so we're staying with it. So even if you are a personality like me, where you like to rearrange and you like to rearrange your life and switch things around, just be careful doing that too much with curriculum. If it's early on and your kids are little, then test stuff out. It's fun. But especially if you're in these like upper elementary, middle school years, if you find something that's really working with you, I really recommend sticking with it. So I will write down what is working for, if across the board, this math or this language or this history is working, there is no need to switch to something else. So that's number 2. So number 3, this is a helpful tool for brand new homeschoolers, seasoned homeschoolers, if you're in between. I actually go to this website every single year, and it's cathyduffy.com. And I love her reviews. I have no idea who this lady is. I don't know. She's famous in the homeschooling world and apparently has tried out every curriculum, or has at least looked at every curriculum that is out there, and I just love her website. She just kind of gives this brief synopsis of each curriculum and what it's about, and kind of a little bit of the pros and cons. And I don't know, I've always found a lot of wisdom from her website. So I'll give you a little picture here, but it's broken down between subject, or you can look at the grade, or you can look at the type of curriculum you're looking for, whether it's all-in-one, unit studies. Everything is broken down into a very easy to find format. So I always go on here if there's something that I'm looking for, like I don't know what I'm going to do for science. I go on this website, even now, even after doing homeschooling for 8 years, I go on here for ideas. I do not use what this lady says and order it as soon as I see it on her website, but it's like a springboard. What should I look at? If you are brand new and you have no idea where to even start, go on Cathy Duffy. You can go on there. Let's say you're looking for science and you're like, I don't even know where to start. You can narrow it down. You're looking for a Christian science curriculum because it goes through, it has ages, it tells whether it's Christian or not Christian. That you can rule stuff out right away. If you're looking for something you can teach family style. So let's say we're doing science, we want something Christian that is creation based. We want something that can be taught as a family. You're really narrowing down your choices. Then you've got a few choices. You can kind of read the description. It has cost and everything, all the stuff that you need to know. Then you can take a couple of those and then jump into some more research elsewhere. But she's just a good springboard for me to go and get ideas from. Because otherwise, if you just ask, you can go on Facebook and go on some, Christian homeschooling Facebook page and say, hey, what science curriculum do you like? You're going to get 500. Well, you're not going to get 500, but you're going to get like 30 different choices or something. You're going to get too many choices. And then it's just like, oh, I love this and this works for me and this works. Well, that's almost overwhelming because it's just, I don't know, too much. So I love that on hers, you can really narrow it down and pick what you're looking for and then go from there and really dig in. Then you go to those Facebook pages and you can say, hey, I'm trying to decide between this and this. What do you guys think? What works for you? Or what did you like or not like? I love the Cathy Duffy website and just all that she has to offer and how easy it is to use. So I love that. That is definitely number 3. So number 4, we're at this point where I've already decided what my kids need. I've decided what we're going to stick with. I've also looked on Cathy Duffy and I've narrowed down what I want to look at. Now I'm ready to research those couple curriculum that I have narrowed it down to. That's when I go to YouTube. YouTube is so great. I am one of those visual learners, and just reading about something isn't enough for me. I want to see it. Sometimes you can't see it in person. So going to YouTube and seeing what these other moms think and how it's worked for them, or looking for videos where they actually do a lesson with us. I like to do those where I'll show you guys, hey, do a history biblioplan lesson with us. And you actually get to follow along with me as I do the lesson and see what it's really like in real time and how, if that would really work or if it would be like a disaster. So I love going on YouTube and looking at what these other moms do, what they use. So you could just type in a specific, if you were looking for biblioplan history and you don't know what it's like, you don't know exactly, how it works, type that in on YouTube and you'll find videos. There's not a ton of biblioplan videos, but there's usually a couple videos on something. Some of the curriculum have a ton of videos. Click on a video and you get a better picture. Some people do flip throughs where they'll actually just show, the book, and they're just showing you what the inside of the book looks like. It's just different than seeing it on the website. So I love YouTube for that. That is why I got into YouTube, because I used to come to YouTube. I've always come to YouTube for my curriculum choices. Really, about this time of year, that's when I spend my next couple months watching YouTube videos about curriculum. So I've always done it. And that's just really helpful for me. Even older videos, they don't expire to where, oh, that doesn't apply anymore. It's still pretty much the same curriculum. Unless they've updated it majorly, it's still gonna apply. So super helpful. So don't hesitate to go to YouTube, and some videos may not be helpful, but I guarantee you're going to find something that's going to be helpful. So that is a huge help for me, and that is my step number 4. Step number 5. After I've done all these steps and now I've really narrowed it down, and I usually at this point will have something picked out and I know what I want, I go to a homeschool convention. If at all possible, I will link a video up above here about going to a homeschool convention. I think it was last year. I took you guys along with me to the Teach Them Diligently convention, and it was so great to go there. And I showed, the exhibit hall. The exhibit hall is awesome. And that's why I love to go to those conventions. Not only do you gain a lot of wisdom from the different classes that you go to, the sessions where you learn about homeschooling, but the exhibit hall is like this big homeschool store, and they have all the books there in person that you can touch and hold in your hand. And like I said, I'm visual. I need to see that book in my hand, and then you're like, oh, this wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be, or oh, this is amazing, you know? So I love going to homeschool conventions if I can. I've gone almost every single year since I started homeschooling, and it's just something I love. I'm not going to be able to go this year, and it kind of makes me want to cry, but life circumstances, it's not going to happen for me this year, and I'm really bummed because that is just, it's rejuvenating. I love it. It just kind of gets me a fresh start to start the new year. I'm going to have to figure that out some way. I'm going to have to do it on my own some other way, but typically I do my best. If I can go to a homeschool convention, I try to go. You can just being able to see the curriculum in person and hold it and flip through it and really see if that's going to work for your kid. Then it's like cemented. Here's one more tip. Do not go to a homeschool convention exhibit hall before you've done any research. I did that my first year and it was so overwhelming. And my husband and I were like, I don't know what to do. And so we picked kind of the first thing that we saw after we'd walked around. We're like, okay, that guy was nice and his curriculum seemed good. And it was good. It was a good curriculum. We were teaching preschool. It wasn't that big of a deal. But you will be overwhelmed if you haven't done the research. So that's why these steps are in order before you go to a convention. You really need to do the research and make sure you've got on paper, or if you use your phone or you're, you know, fancy and whatever. I write it on a piece of paper. I have a little notebook where I write it down and I say, math, this is what I'm looking for these kids. You know, this, whether it's the same thing for every kid or it's something different for each subject, I write it all out. Now, if you find something better, that's when the nice thing about the homeschool convention is it's usually over a span of like 3 days. So when I have found something a couple years ago, I found a language curriculum that I was like blown away by, but I didn't know a ton about it. So I had already had something else written down. I went to the hotel room that night and I spent the evening researching on my phone, watching YouTube videos, looking up as much as I could look up about this curriculum. And I ended up buying it at the convention because it was just, I felt like it was best for us and it looked amazing and I hadn't really heard much of it. So be flexible, but have an idea. So that's kind of like definitely my expert opinion from someone who's gone to many, many homeschool conventions. It can be too overwhelming if you don't even have a clue. So do your research first, but love going to homeschool conventions. They are so, so helpful. If you have done, I love Teach Them Diligently because it's a God-centered Christian homeschool convention, very uplifting and encouraging, and I just love it. So the one this year that's closest to us is still pretty far away, so that's why we can't go, but try to go to homeschool convention if you can. Number 6, I told you guys this was going to be easy. This hasn't been that hard yet, has it? Okay, number 6 is order the curriculum. You ready for this? Stop looking. So order your curriculum and turn off the computer. Anything that you've been doing that is researching, turn it all off and turn off that part of your mind and stop looking. Because this is why I say this. It's kind of like the wedding dress, okay? You find that perfect wedding dress. You've shopped quite a bit, you know, you've tried on ones that you didn't like, then you find the wedding dress. It's the one. And then maybe you found it kind of early and you're like, but I was going to go to like 3 other stores, but I love this one. If you bought that dress, do not go dress shopping again. That's what happened with me. I found my wedding dress. Now, if you guys have followed my channel, you know that I'm thrifty. I'm pretty sure my wedding dress was $126 and it was so pretty. It was beautiful. And I loved it. I fell in love with it right away. It was perfect. But I did have that urge a little bit to like, well, but this is so early on. It was like the second store I went to. But it was such a good deal and it was beautiful and I loved it. I stopped looking. I did not go dress shopping anymore. It's the same thing with curriculum. Once you have decided, don't you look at any more shiny stuff. Don't you look at anything else that's, oh, that's colorful or, oh, that, you know, those people are using that. Just stop, because then you're going to have a whole cabinet full of curriculum that you're not going to use. So be really careful. Don't, just stop. Just stop. That's it. That's my key. Once you find it and you have found what you think is going to work for you, just stop. And now you can start planning for the next year, but just don't shop anymore. Okay. I'm going to throw in one more little tip that I almost forgot to mention. For me, if you are someone like me who likes physical books and not just online, order the catalogs. I love looking at the actual physical catalog, and most places I think still will mail you a catalog for free, and it's just so helpful. There's some curriculum, like I remember at Heart of Dakota when we used them, it was kind of confusing online to try to figure out what different pieces you needed, but I always got the catalog because it was laid out by year and you could see a picture of which books you needed to order. Anyway, if you can get a catalog for whatever it is that you are considering, order that. And if you're not old school like me and you like everything digital, then you don't have to worry about that. But for me, that was really helpful because I just I hate using the internet. If I don't have to, it's just annoying to me. So I really loved having the physical books, and they're usually free. So those are my 6 tips. That was really easy and painless. And if you follow these, it really can be just not as stressful as you think it might be. A lot of people can be overwhelmed by worrying about, what am I going to do? What if I pick the wrong thing? Just go with it. You're not going to ruin your child by choosing a curriculum that maybe doesn't work, because then when you reassess next year, you use something different. If you have to switch mid-year, it's okay. I have done it before. I did it one time and, we survived. It was fine. So really have a plan. Don't stress about it. But if you just follow these steps and kind of go in order, it really should be pretty easy. I hope these tips were just easy and helpful and straightforward. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal. I love curriculum and I love getting new stuff, but after doing homeschool for 8 years, this is what I have found that has worked for me. So I hope it would also work for you. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you're notified every time one of my videos comes out. I will be sharing with you guys soon what we'll be using for a curriculum next year for 8th grade. Oh, 8th grade, oh my word. 8th grade, 6th grade, 4th grade, and 1st grade. Oh my word. Like, it's crazy. My kids are growing up so fast. But I will be sharing all of that with you in the very near future. I also share all kinds of thrifty stuff and mom life. So if you like that kind of stuff, just make sure you stick around. I love having you guys here. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.